John Gresh, pastor Lighthouse, and I'm going to share for just a few minutes on an overview of this past year of 2020, what an interesting year it has been for the church. For the world, it's been one thing. For the church, it's been something I believe very, very different. At the beginning of the year, we started off with looking at 1 John. The author of 1 John, he says several different times, by this. And he's saying by this because he's saying, by our actions, this is what we're saying. Over this past year, we've had plenty of opportunity as a church, as people, as individuals, with neighbors and friends and coworkers, to be able to say, by this, this is what I believe. By my actions, this is what I believe. So the overview of our year for Sunday mornings, we've been looking at this idea of taking ownership of our faith, living out of faith, living out a real faith, taking ownership of that. Of course, when we started the year in January, we had no idea what the year was going to look like. We had no idea that we're going to have this massive shutdown and the churches were going to be closed for X amount of weeks, some months. So we had no idea of going into it that way. But over this past year, we've been able to look at here at Lighthouse, what does real faith look like? We looked at biblical leaders who took ownership of their faith on Sunday mornings. We walked through the book of James. We looked at what does this actually look like for us to follow after the ways of Jesus? Because we could say with our mouth that we believe in Jesus, but what does it actually look like to live it out, to actually follow the ways of Jesus? And we've been able to put a lot of that into practice as we reach out to our neighbors, as we did different things. We looked at the good kings of Judah. We walked through and saw how they were able to, some go in and tear down idols in their country and be able to wipe out these false gods and false religions and do what was good and right and pleasing in the eyes of the Lord, and what success came from that. So our prayer for this year has been that we could be seeing how is God preparing us to live out our faith, to own our faith, own our scripture reading, own our prayer life, to own how we lead in our families. That our faith becomes not just something we do on Sundays, but a central aspect of our lives. And so real faith changes lives. Real faith changes lives. So over the last 8 months, I would imagine you've been like me, and we've asked ourselves several times, how am I trusting God? Do I really trust God? So God, over the past year, God has blessed the church family. Lighthouse Church family has been blessed in so many ways. We've been trusting that God is sovereign. When the shutdown took place, it did not take God by surprise. God did not wake up March 15th and say, oh my goodness, the church needs to shut down. This did not surprise God. So what did we do? We adapted for a few short weeks, where Jim did an amazing job, like he's doing right now, with video and being able to help us put things on the website. Kim and her team with children's ministry did a great job of keeping things in front of kids and in front of families so they can have time together worshiping at home. Dusty and the worship team did a great job of still coming in on Wednesdays and singing songs and leading us in worship and being able to put that in front of you on your computers or on your TV screens at home. Nick did an amazing job keeping the kids together on Zoom and on different activities where we played game nights over the computer at each everyone's houses. We were able to sit and play games together as a family, watching other people chase things around their house. So what did we do? We just adapted, because that's what we do. God has called us to be about the people, about how are we building lives, building these relationships with each other that are impacting eternity. So this year, we've been able to be a blessing to so many people. You, as our church family, have been faithful. You have continued to be faithful to what God is calling you to do, especially in the realm of giving. In the realm of giving, we have been blessed. We've been able to take, because of your obedience to God, we've been able to continue to do everything that God desires us to do in reaching out to the community, in serving over in India. I don't know how many of you know that in India, when the shutdown takes place and COVID went crazy around the world, India was impacted massively. And because of our partnership with Kingdom Footprint, we were able to take and give money to them, and they were able to feed an entire village for a couple of months. We continued our support of a group of pastors in Pakistan as they continued to minister to people there. We were able to take and help several families within our church with car insurance, with rent bills, with light bills and food and all kinds of things. We were able to be a blessing because that's what the church does. God has blessed us. And as we continue to be a light in our community, I believe that God will continue to do that. We've been looking at 1 Corinthians. And in 1 Corinthians, Paul talks about how we are to not boast in each other. We're not boasting in what we ourselves have been doing, because it's not about us. Paul says that we're going to boast in Christ. So over the next few minutes, you're going to hear from each of our staff members on their areas of ministry, and they're going to be boasting in Christ. They're going to be talking about ways that God has used the children's ministry, student ministry, life groups, worship team, all these different areas of ministry that God has been able to bless and to use these leaders in these different areas. So my encouragement to you is for you to think through, how am I being a blessing as well? Am I taking ownership of my faith? Am I doing the things that God is calling me to do? So I pray that that's something you will think through and you will be encouraged by as you listen to our staff share what happened in this past year.
Lighthouse Church family, my name is Nick, and I get to be the student pastor here, and I'm so excited to fill you in on how we saw God work and move in our ministry in this past year. By God's grace, we meet on Tuesday nights, and we did not have to miss one Tuesday night. At 6 o'clock every single week, we were able to provide an opportunity for 6th through 12th graders to come together and be real, have fun, and learn about Jesus. It really excited me that we never had to take a break, even whether we had to go online or be in person. And while our big summer camps got canceled, we still had 3 big events for our students to come together and bond. In the winter, we had a ski retreat. Over the summer, we had a summer kickoff where we play our slip and slide kickball. And then this fall, we had a fall retreat where we put up tents and slept in one of our elders' backyards. It was a great, great time. One of the big highlights of our student ministry is when we reemerged as a church family. And we decided that we would still provide online content for those who weren't ready yet, but we're going to open our doors and allow us to gather. We saw more new students over a 4-month span than we had in my first 2 years as a student pastor here. And so what that means, church family, is that our core students finally saw some opportunities to really invite their friends into an environment where they can hear about Jesus. But there's 2 things that I specifically want to highlight in this short time with you today, because there are 2 opportunities that you can be a part of. The first is something that we started after we felt most people were Zoom savvy enough to do it. And on the first Sunday of every single month, we have an online open gathering called Parenting with a Purpose. This is for parents to gather and hear from one another and be encouraged on what it looks like to parent in a godly way for Generation Z in this crop of teens that we have right now. We have a core group of families that have been pouring into that, and I think over the next 5 years, that could be one of our most influential ministries as a church. It's the first Sunday of every month from 8:30 to 9:15 p.m. sharp, and it's a great time. The second is that as much fun as I love to do this and lead our ministry, I am not alone, and thank God for that. But we have a team of 3 other adults and 3 students who this year spent hours and hours of time to build into our teenagers at Lighthouse. These guys, I trust these guys to lead. I trust them to be creative, and they've returned that trust with ministry success and pouring into our teenagers. And so I have to highlight my wife, Caitlin, Marsha, Michael, Riley, Ansley, and Will. Thank y'all for being the hands and feet of Jesus. And we'd love for y'all to join us in 2021 as we see more ministry happen for teenagers in Mount Pleasant.
Hey, Lighthouse Church. This is Kim Johnson, your children's ministry director. Just wanted to take a couple of minutes to speak to you all about my ministry and what Dawn and I have gone through and experienced this year. 2020 was a year like no other since I had begun my job as children's ministry director many years ago. God walked with us through this whole year, each and every week, and it really was a great year. It was a great year for children's ministry, and we were really able to see God move quite a bit within our ministry area as well. When the world shut down back in March, Dawn and I went virtual. We went from being in person here at church to collaborating with each other every week and sending out Sunday school lessons to the families and to the kids. We also sent words of encouragement and reached out to the families on a weekly basis to check in on everyone. We were back in May physically, which was so exciting. And we all decided as a group that Dawn and I would teach for the first couple of months just to get everyone back on track. And those who might not have been totally comfortable, just to have one teacher. So that was where I saw God move in big ways for me, at the very least. It gave me an opportunity during those 2 months to grow my relationships with the kids. I got to know them more as individuals. I got to know more about their young lives. It made the lessons more personal. We were able to talk about how the lessons applied to their own lives during those couple of months. And we were able to do so in a more comfortable setting because we had, for those 2 months, we had a smaller group of kids, I should say. This fall, we reintroduced the volunteers, and everybody rallied. I just want to give a huge shout out and a big thank you to all of our volunteers, both for elementary and preschool. Y'all are amazing, and I just give a big thank you to everybody. In preschool, Marcia Moore came back on board on a regular basis, and she has been walking the little ones through some biblical principles. She teaches the lessons every week. She also teaches the kids through prayers, the weekly Bible story. They sing songs, they play games, they do activities. They oftentimes act out the lesson. And she also brings in snacks, which gives the kids the opportunity to pray over the food and just bless the food and the opportunity and the time that they have with one another. Our other preschool volunteers have been amazing as well, and I thank you all again. We had no summer camp this summer, but we were able to do 4 days of, I ended up calling it kind of camp, which ended up being kind of camp. We did that for 4 days in total. 2 days were missional, and 2 days were fun. One of the fun days we weren't able to do because the numbers spiked, and Charleston Fun Park was not going to be a fun place to be. The second fun day was a water day, which we did here with a big water slide and popsicles and games, and we just had a blast. The missional outreaches that we did over the summer, one was for MUSC Children's Hospital with a nonprofit organization called Camp Happy Wheels. Just Happy Wheels. And the children got together with friends of theirs in a much more intimate type setting as opposed to a camp of 60 children encompassing all of Mount Pleasant. And we made blankets for sick children at MUSC. We also did a day where we made birthday bags. We filled the bags with everything from cake mixes and frosting and candles and party supplies to a birthday gift and all kinds of other fun little things like that. Those bags will be going to children in need, hopefully through one of the schools in our area very soon. The kids gathered together, like I said, with friends. We also had an opportunity to teach a lesson on serving others, and it was just a ton of fun. It was a great way to teach the children and encourage the children to be the hands and feet of Jesus. And like Nick had said just before me, I just want to also say to you, 2021 is a huge opportunity for you if you would like to join us and come on board as a volunteer. You don't have to be a parent of a child in the shore or in the preschool Sunday school. We would just love to have you. We would love to have you pour into these kids, and I can tell you from my heart that the kids truly do love having you teach them, and they love everyone's different personalities, and it is a blessing to you. I can promise you that. There are times where you just don't think that you're going to be blessed, and every single time you teach, there's somebody who says something or something that you learn that is a huge blessing. So please If you're interested, come and find me some Sunday running around campus. Come and find me sitting in the back row. Come and find me on a cruise Sunday, but come and find me because we would love to have you on our team. Thank you very much, and here's to 2021.
Hello, Lighthouse. Dusty Bryant here, and I want to take this opportunity to share a few highlights of what has happened in 2020. It has been a wild year, kind of like my hair, as you can see. If you haven't been here in a while, it's a little crazy, but I love it. Life groups here at Lighthouse. It's been a great year. We got off to a great start. We had some leadership batons being passed. We had some new groups forming, and then all of a sudden, things happened in our world and changed, as the other staff has already mentioned. We had to get flexible, so to speak. You know, one of our main premises here is in our life groups is to do life together, and not just in here on Sunday mornings, but to do it outside these four walls. And we did that, and it was fantastic. We had a really big opportunity. We were in a really good place when all of this kicked off back in March. We had such a high percentage of our people, our regular attenders, you guys, who were in life groups already. So we didn't have to have people running around trying to find a group. People were already in groups. And man, our leaders just did a fantastic job shepherding and loving. You know, we're really big on this idea of family here at Lighthouse. And that's what we were. We're families trying to make it work, trying to look out for one another. And kept hearing great stories from our leaders all throughout this season. About people just feeling like they were connected still, even if they weren't able to meet in person, and like I said, being flexible, meeting how we could. Leaders were trying Zoom meetings, and they were for some, and others not so much, and that's fine. We were giving it a try, a good go at it. Meeting in yards together, socially distancing, trying to at least make it happen. Maybe some groups were trying just the guys, some groups just the girls at times, so that the other parent can watch kids. Neighbors were kind of looking in and taking a look, and that kind of taps into some of our vision too. When we talk about worship and family and kingdom here, we were finding ways to try and worship together. We were finding ways to be family and connect with one another, and also the kingdom, like asking questions of our neighbors and letting them ask questions of us. And people were just dumbfounded in some places about hearing that we were still trying to meet and make it work. And so our leaders did such a fantastic job. And I knew that it was so exciting for a number of folks when they were able to finally get back together and meet, and how great that felt to do it in person. And here we are on this side of things. I hope the other side of all of the COVID ordeal, that our groups are going to continue to be family and continue to meet, and especially in this season, recognizing the powerful need. And if you're not plugged in for a life group, it's never too late. I encourage you to take that leap to join a group and come see me, talk to me. John, we can help you find a group, get connected, one of our leaders. We'd love to see you be a part of that and be able to experience the life-giving relationships that have happened there. I also have the privilege of being able to serve our church and our community and lead worship with such a fantastic team, leading the music on Sunday mornings here, and in that time where we gather and we sing and glorify God together and do that on Sundays. Lauren Moe did such a fantastic job early on, just coming on Wednesdays and coming and serving and helping me when it's just her and I and a guitar, and Jim Hall back there putting videos together and showing up, and it was great because we got to go and have lunch with John and John Gresham, and then John Leroy helping out on our presentation software every week. And it was just good to have that connection and hanging out and being able to do that. It was a blessing. We loved being able to stay connected with the church that way. And there was a time when the full team I knew was going to come back and get together. The whole band came, and it was such an electric night, just that first time back. We knew that something special, we'd missed being able to gather and play our instruments and sing together. And that first night back where we did that, to be able to video record was really special. And we got to hang out and linger around and catch up in person. It was really good. And that made us realize just how special it was going to be once the church started gathering again here on Sunday mornings, and it was for us as well, just being able to be up here and sing and lead from and sing and join together with so many more voices. It really was special, and I've heard from so many people that it was special to them as well, and so I hope you were encouraged by that. we're hoping to continue doing what we're doing, faithfully leading and trying to create space for us to engage the Lord here on Sunday mornings or in the videos when you're seeing them, when you're watching them, just a chance to engage the Lord in that manner. And we love the opportunity. Can't speak enough of our team who has just made sacrifices and continue to do what they do and do a great job. And it's a privilege to be able to continue doing that. So thank you, Lighthouse.